Hi, Michael Makovsky. Welcome to Snapshot. I'm the president and CEO of JINSA. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague and friend, John Handa, the Randi and Charles Wax, senior fellow here at JINSA. John, I know you're just in Israel. Why don't we just talk a couple of minutes about CENTCOM? Because on this past Friday, we're recording on Monday, the 11th, and just a few days ago, there was a handover at CENTCOM. For those who don't know, the CENTCOM stands for the U.S. Central Command. That's our Mideast Command. The Pentagon divides the world into different commands. Our Mideast Command is called CENTCOM, and it's based in Tampa. But Eric Kurilla just concluded his tenure as commander and is retiring from the military. His predecessor, General McKenzie, is a distinguished fellow here at JINSA. But I think it's worth talking, John, just for a couple of minutes, just about Kurilla. Brad Cooper, I may add, is taken over. Former deputy CENTCOM commander, or previously the deputy CENTCOM commander and the head of our fleet in the Persian Gulf, and also an outstanding officer. But General Kurilla was CENTCOM commander at such a pivotal time in the region. And just to explain just a little more background, Israel historically was a part of what's called in the Pentagon the Arab Responsibility, AOR, or maybe in normal speak, we would say the auspices of the U.S. European Command, which is based in Stuttgart, Germany. Their main focus is Russia, but the U.S. CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, their main focus has been Iran. Israel wasn't part of Iran's Arab responsibility until a few years ago because the Arabs didn't want to be part of the same forum as Israel. JINSA in 2018 pressed for recommended Israel be moved from the Arab responsibility of EUCOM, of the European Command, to CENTCOM, believing it would facilitate greater U.S. Israeli security cooperation and also greater Israeli Arab military cooperation. But didn't go anywhere right away. And then the Abraham Accords, which were in September 2020, JINSA realized that kind of a light bulb went off. And we said, okay, now's really the time to push. This should be the next step, that Israel should be part of this, the Arab responsibility of CENTCOM, so they could really work more closely with the Arabs and the U.S. And I may add that when we raised this 2018 with the senior IDF leadership, they were pretty indifferent. They said this was an American decision. But then we pushed it in the fall of 2020. We were the only organization to do it. There was some movement inside of the military to do so as well. President Trump approved it in January of 2021. Whenever I go to Israel, which would be about, I don't know, 4 times a year, I'd always ask the Israeli generals, so how's it going with CENTCOM? And they said game changer. So what they didn't realize, they finally appreciated, which was that it facilitated unbelievable military cooperation. And we saw the evidence of that last year when Iran attacked Israel twice by the air, and they had to work with the regional Arab countries and the United States in protecting Israeli airspace. And it could not have happened really without that happened last April and then in October. And then we saw, of course, this here in the war, the 12-day war in June. And it could not have happened without Israel really being part of CENTCOM's area of responsibility, or certainly could not have happened as well. So the CENTCOM relationship, the move by Israel was really, as the Israelis eventually realized, was a game changer. And they thought that even before October 7th, let alone after. And I'll just stop here, John, and I'll just say I think we all owe General Kurilla a tremendous amount of gratitude. The guy has been amazing, very hardworking, I would say certainly from our perspective and from the Israeli perspective, just tremendous on Israel and working so closely with them. I think he said he was in Israel. He was just there. He visited the Western Wall. I think he said he was in Israel 30 times. He mentioned his mother when he visited, because we understand that his mother is very pro-Israel and was pushing him always to be pro-Israel. And I think everyone who believes in a strong U.S. posture in the region, in a strong U.S. Israel relationship, and a tough posture against the Iranians, I think we all owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to General Kurilla, and we wish him well.
Yeah, no, I just agree with that totally, Mike. I've just completed a study of right before the Iran war. We published looking at the defense of Israel during the massive Iranian aerial attacks in April and October of 2024. And one of the takeaways from that is that without Kurilla in place, without his drive, his determination, his charisma and commitment, it's very unclear if on very short notice, the United States would have been able to put together the kind of coalition it did to support Israel's unbelievably successful defense in that period of time last year, when you had these first Iranian attacks ever in history directly from Iranian territory on Israel, and not just small attacks, massive attacks. Kurilla is the central figure in putting together that defensive coalition. Take him out of the equation, have another CENTCOM commander out of central casting, and it's just not clear to me that you would be able to rally the forces the way that Kurilla did. So unbelievable commander. Second, I'd say on his replacement, Brad Cooper, who you and I have had the good fortune of having some discussions with. I actually took over a small group of our general and admirals when we were studying defense cooperation under the Abraham Accords back in the fall of 2021, when Israel had just entered CENTCOM, and we were trying to come up with what's the agenda for defense cooperation between Israel and its Arab partners in CENTCOM. We had a trip to Manama, Bahrain, where CENTCOM's naval component is based, and that's where the naval commander, Brad Cooper, was, and he hosted us very graciously. But it was very clear to us that he's very much in that mode of understanding the enormous historic opportunity that's brought together by having Israel inside of CENTCOM. He had already been to visited Israel on several occasions by then. I think he told you and I just a couple of months ago that in the entire time that he's been in command of Naval Forces Central Command, and then as a deputy commander to Eric Kurilla over the last couple of years, that he hasn't gone 5 days without being in touch with his Israeli counterparts. So I just think we're going to go from strength to strength, from Kurilla to Brad Cooper. And then just on the issue of how valuable CENTCOM is, I'll tell you, on this recent trip, Mike, everybody again said Israel could not have done what it did in that 12-day war in June against Iran if it hadn't been in CENTCOM. Just a huge force multiplier and strategic advantage. First and foremost, on that air defense side, the critical role that the United States played in helping defend Israel from over 500 ballistic missiles, over 1,000 drones that were fired on Israel over the course of that 12 days. The level of integration and work that went in with American and Israeli officers sitting side by side, seeing a common screen in which you see all of these Iranian attacks, and it's all hooked up, not only to all the Israeli multi-tiered defensive systems, but all of the American systems that were in Israel, the THAAD batteries, and then the ships offshore on American destroyers, the anti-missile systems there, all of that integrated into a single package, and planning the defense of Israel. Just incredible and impossible without CENTCOM. And then the second thing, Operation Midnight Hammer, those B-2s. In the days once the decision was made to launch the B-2s, You had the American and Israeli militaries operating within a matter of days, the United States planning that operation together, the United States making specific requests of the IDF and the Israeli Air Force to hit some additional targets on the ground to pave the way for those B-2s, and that offensive operation all being put together by these militaries over the course of a couple of days was, again, just a testament to how much comfort, coordination, cooperation, CENTCOM, and trust, deep friendships, deep relationships between our military that Israel's admission to CENTCOM has offered. So it's a great thing, and I think JINSA ought to feel very proud of having played a small part in making this happen.
One last thing, John, on this is, do you think Kurilla, who was supposed to, I believe he was supposed to retire in like March or April, and then I think he was asked to stay on, but do you think his, among many timing factors about the Iran nuclear program, about what the Iranians were doing on their air defense, but do you think that Kurilla imminent departure was one of the factors that led Israel to decide, okay, this is the time to attack Iran's nuclear facilities?
Yeah, well, that's my feeling. I'm not sure anybody said that outright and explicitly, but I do think at the margins, all of the things being equal, Israel wanted to do this with a guy who had been there in place, who they conducted all of those exercises and training and joint work, joint planning with. That's the guy that you wanted there for this climactic moment that everything's been leading to for the last 25 years of actually seriously setting back and degrading these existential threats posed by, first and foremost, the Iranian nuclear program and how close they were getting, but also that missile program, the largest in the Middle East, that was on a course to dramatically, exponentially increase over the next couple of years, and on its own would have posed such a dramatic and even existential conventional threat to the Israeli homeland. So I think having Kurilla in place, this was at the margins, this was the time to do it while Kurilla was still there and in command.
Well, I think it was reported that President Trump was considering, he was one of the two leading candidates, Kurilla, to be
the chairman.
Yeah, to be chairman. They obviously went with General Kane, but I think he might not be a household name across America, but I think we all owe him a tremendous debt of gratitude, and very grateful for his service.
Absolutely, Mike. Amen.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for joining us today, and wishing everybody a good week. Thank you. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Mike.